go ahead and let this record as well. Yeah, there's a couple of ways to do this. Let me go ahead and request this, and I'll show you some, and you can decide what's your best approach. One is, after the fact, as you're starting to, draw them in here. Yeah, and you can do this through just a really focused application of field to finish. You just say process, these 4 or 5 points, and have it draw stuff if you want. The other is just simply drawing the geometry once you have these other things done. So once you zoom in and show me where it is you want to fit the curve, and
there are 3 of them.
Okay.
Here's one. Here's PC and PT.
Okay.
And the tangents coming in on either side. Now, what I used to do in Terra Model is I used to intersect the tangents and then check the distance between the PC and PT and then just split the difference and make a curve.
Yeah, which is very possibly how you can do that as well. You
but,
can, in
but
fact,
I didn't see a way to do that. Then there are a couple more places where there are little curves in the. There's one down here. I guess there are only there's one here, and I guess there are 2 curves.
All right. So you have identified these with PC and PT. That's good, and I can show you how that works. Now we do need to put in. We need to add this up to the PT point. So to do that, I'm going to just say draw a 2D polyline, since that's what you're creating here. And I'm just going to say okay, and I'm going to choose C to continue. And I'll pick closer to that end, and now it wants me to go there, and I'll just go to point number 10. And that's all I've done there, is just to make that go up through there. So, and there may be a slight kink in there, but I mean, that's, and there is a bend I can visibly see in number 14. I don't know if that's supposed to go from 16 to 10, and these are just sort of online. You can adjust that as you need. But here's how this works when doing it with, say, field to finish. And this might be the way you want to approach it. The first thing is, well, first of all, where's point number 9? Is it?
Number 9 is on the edge of the road.
All right, but so it's not a CL point. The next CL goes from 8 to 10. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
That's right.
Now I'm going to double click number 8, and I'm going to put this code PC after the CL. So because the CL is the code that drives it, and the PC and PT are the modifiers. We don't really need the RD, as long as that's not a defined code in your
it's not
in your stuff. So that'll be, it won't hurt anything to have it. That'll still be okay. Now, so that's the same thing there, and we'll do the same thing. I'll just copy that as a placeholder. So we'll say okay for that one, and we'll do the same thing for number 10, except we'll change PC to be PT, and then just make that the same there. Okay. All right. So now, if we're doing it with field to finish works in 3 possible ways. It reads this, and it reads a piece, well, actually 4 possible ways. The least involved is when you just say PC, and then you shoot a point on the curve, and then you shoot the PT point and just keep going. If you do not declare a point as a PT, it assumes the one where it starts with PC, it assumes the next 2 points define the curve. Okay, so it will fit an arc between those 2
I
points.
didn't shoot a center line. I didn't shoot a center line between the PC and PT.
And that's okay. That's one of the other ways it can work. So what it can do then is, if you had those 3 points, it would take that, and let's say you had, say, point number 9, also a CL, then it would draw an arc, as you can see, from 8 through 9 through 10, which would not be tangent in the least if you had a point there. Now you don't, so that's fine. So another way that it works requires you to have at least 1 point behind the PC that helps to establish that tangent, which you have, number 2. And then you also have 1 point beyond the PT, which helps establish that as a tangent. And even without a point here in the middle, if you mark the PC and the PT with those 2 codes, it says, okay, I'm going to put a curve in there. And because I have these points behind and ahead, I know the 2 tangents to make that a tangent curve. And what it does is it will actually create the resulting PC. It might slide this back down this line a little bit or up this line a little bit to make sure that the geometry works out and tangency is maintained. That's the easiest way of doing that. Now, the simple draw command, you can actually draw a circle that is tangent to both of these lines at some point and then trim that out. You might even be able to do it. If I do, let's look under arc. I've got a PC, a PT, and a tangent. That's one way. I got a PC.
I tried that, but I couldn't see how to do it.
Oh, okay. So if I do that, this is just the drawing by geometry. So I'm going to say pick the tangent in, right? So there's that one. And pick the PC point, does it say?
Yeah.
Make sure I grab the endpoint, okay? And now pick the PT. So it will be that point. Now, this is a tangent curve, but it's only tangent here, okay? So that part doesn't necessarily work, you know, unless you were to unless that outgoing tangent happened to fit. So that part is sort of there, but it doesn't really work in this instance. What we want to do is to fit it between these 2 tangents. And if we should be able to, here's a 2 tangent and a chord length. Now, when we do that, we've got the 2 tangents. You can see you've also could do it through a through point if you did have a point out here. But we'll do a 2 tangents and a chord length. So the chord length is, oh, it's not going to let me snap to it, I don't think. Maybe it is. Yeah, okay. It's asking me for a length. So I know my chord goes from that endpoint to that endpoint. Okay, so we read that. And now it has the intersection on, so pick the PI. Oh, okay, so I see what I have to do. I need to intersect these 2 lines. So before I do that one, let's do a modification of that with a simple fillet. And I'm going to say, the radius is set to 0. I see on the line right up here above. That's what I want. So I want to do this line and this line. And that now, see, has a PI right here based on those 2 incoming tangents. All right. So now, let's see, that's not. Yeah, when it fits that curve, if we hold the PC is going to be right up here.
Yeah.
If we hold the PC is going to be back down here. And that's fine if you want, if either of those you want to keep. Or in fact, it's going to adjust both of them. I'll show you how that works. If we draw the arc with two tangents and we don't really know the chord length now because we don't know where the new PCs and PTs are going to go. We do know the external though, because we have the PI. So if we do that, here's the there's the PI. It says intersection on, so there's the intersection. Now here's the first tangent. Here's the second tangent. Now the external distance. Oh, goodness. I thought it would recognize that and compute it. All right, so that one didn't work either. All right, well, let's go back a bit to, I'm going to back this up to where we didn't have that in there. So all of those things with the two tangents, unless we knew any of those other things, it can't compute it. That's why the through point would have been good if we knew where it was. All right, so we don't have that. So if we do a, let me see if any of these others might work. I don't think so. We have a PC, a PT, and then that's a tangent length, which we don't know. We don't know the center, we don't know the radius. All right, so if we draw a circle then instead, I've got three options to draw a circle. I can show 3 points and it will draw a circle that goes through those 3 points. So again, if I had shot the 3 points, now that's no tangent guarantee, it just goes through those 3 points. 2-point circle, of course, just shows you, you define a chord along that circle and then you have to supply the radius. But tangent radius, oh shoot, this is still going to require a radius value. All right, let's fix this up. If I, no, let's just use these current things. I'm going to go from out here just arbitrarily, and I'm going to go to perpendicular to this line here, okay? And I'm going to do another one, the same deal. I'll just pick from here and snap.
What command are you using to do that?
Sorry, just draw a 2D poly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So then I'll go from here and I'll take it to perpendicular of that line. Okay. Now, those lines are perpendicular to each other. I'm going to now move this, each one. I'm not going to do it with the grip because I want the whole thing to move without changing direction. So I'm going to move from that endpoint to that endpoint. All right. I'm going to take this and move it from its endpoint to that endpoint at number 8. Now I'm going to intersect those with a 0 radius down here. Now that is the radius point of that curve that is tangent between those two lines. And if you look at, let me explode this for a minute. If I explode this, then this length, which is, well, it's 2569, 2555. Why are they different? And also, why do you have no decimals up here? 2, 3. Angular, that's fine. Okay, good. All right, so now that has a length of 2569, 184. These things, if I were to draw a circle centered here, or draw an arc centered here, going from this endpoint across to that endpoint, I'm really confused here, Michael. If I've got a line, just gonna draw something out. If I got one like this, and I've got one over here like this, and if I want a tangent arc between that, I should be able to draw a polyline from you can't draw it from there. I have to snap perpendicular to there. I'll repeat that from here and go perpendicular to there. Oops. Snap perpendicular to that. Okay. If I move that from that endpoint to that endpoint, okay. If I move this, that endpoint to that endpoint, and then if I intersect those two lines with a radius of 0, I'm going to set the let's see here, fillet, move the corners. Where is it? It should give me the trim. Oh, here it is. I want to use those. Well, all right, we just have to do it like that. So now if I intersect those 2 points, that one and that one, all right, then I need to explode this. Whoops, need to explode that. Explode. All right. So now that is a line of 540.845. That should also be, and it's not. Why is that not? All right, you're a surveyor. Help me out with my geometry. Why are those not intersecting in the center? Because if I'm 90 degrees from the PC point, 90 degrees from the PT point, they should meet at the radius, correct?
Well, those aren't the if you intersect those two lines coming into PC and PT, your tangents aren't equal either, I don't think. I don't think they.
Yeah, but that shouldn't matter. If I've got a line that starts, oh, I see what you mean. If I intersect these two to the PI.
Yeah, so
there we go. Ah, that's why. Okay. All right.
If you equalize the tangents, then that'll tell you where your PC and PT have to be.
That's correct.
And then
that's correct.
Intersect.
Okay. All right. So now that I know why that's messed up, and thank you for that. I should have known that. All right, so this approach is not going to necessarily get me anywhere there because I still need.
Well, you could intersect you could intersect those lines and
Yep.
define, make the tangents equal and move either the PC or PT or both of them a little bit.
Right. So I'm going to turn these. Excuse me, turn these back into polylines just because I like to deal with them better. So if I do this, start there. Let me turn my extension and snap tracking. Okay. That's what I wanted to do. All right, so I'll put that one there. Now, see, I'm doing that just to keep your original line intact, but I'm parallel to it. So now I'll do another one here. Just sit at that endpoint and then, come on. Need the endpoint of that.
Hey, what do you think keeps turning my toolboxes off?
I'm not sure. It's something to do with your workspace. I'll take a look at that here in a second. Oh, heck, let's just snap tracking AutoCAD never gets it right. So I'll go to there and then I'm going to move last from there up to there. And now let's intersect these. And there we have that. Now, just because it's such a slight kink, I'm going to just put a little marker line here just so I know where it is. All right, now, how big a curve do you want that to be? Like, are either of these 2 points you consider pretty definite or not?
No, it's pretty vague.
All right, so if we do something like this, if we, let me do this. I'm going to measure right here with my distance from point 8 to point 10, which was 350, essentially 353. So half of 350 is 175. So if I draw if I want to split that difference either side of that PI, if I draw a point from here to perpendicular here, actually I don't need this one anymore because I'm going to draw this point from here to perpendicular of that. I'll move this point, let's see here, move from here to here. And then this point, I'm going to move from here to here, if I get there. All right, and now I'm going to offset each one of those. Let's say, let's just go 150 instead of that half. If I go there to there, and if I go there to there. Now that would put the PC and PT right in there.
Okay.
That would be okay. And then I'm going to take, since those are, whoops. Since those are now the things, I could intersect these and then also use these to trim these. Whoops, what did I miss there? Trim, trim, trim. All right, so now this one then, exploding, should be the same length, 2410, 14, and then 2410, 14, perfect. All right, so then you would know how to construct that circle or that arc even. You could do it a number of ways. Let's get rid of all of this intervening geometry here. Make sure I've only got the one. Yes, okay. All right, so there's now my originals, which I would use this to extend this, and then use this to trim this. Okay, and then you would simply draw arc. You've got two tangents and you've got a radius. So the two tangents, it wants to know the radius of the arc. Now, when it's asking for a distance, now you could type in that distance we measured. But anytime AutoCAD or IntelliCAD asks for a distance, you can show it the distance. So if I just hover there, it finds that endpoint, I click, and now it wants to know the other end. I'll click there, and that now has the distance set. Here is my incoming tangent, and here is my outgoing tangent, and there it is.
Okay.
And that arc, now it's joined that into that polyline. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make sense though. Look at where it put the PC and PT. What is the radius? 24, 10, 14. So it did that. It's the right radius, but I would have expected that to be there and this to be there.
I think when you enter the command and you inverse, you gave it the distance along that line. I don't think that was what I don't think it gave you the right number for the radius for some reason.
No, it did. That's what I just checked. When I look at this by curve information, if you look right here, 24, 10, 14.
Yeah.
And then if I just simply look at the properties of this line down here under length, 24, 10, 14. So that did okay. So that was one way. I'm confused as to why. It's not right where those endpoints are. It is tangent. So if I draw this line, say from 12 to 10, and extend, let's say 25 feet. Because I need to be bigger than that. If I do from 12 to 10, and then let's extend that 100 feet. All right, still just so flat, that's a problem. And if I repeat from 2 to 8, and if I intersect those two lines, so yeah, hold on a second, Mike. Yeah, I am on the phone. All right, so I got that one and that one. Let's try that one more time. I extend that one and oh man, what is going on? All right. One thing obviously is that that's no longer there's something that's not quite right there. That should, see, that's off of that line there a little bit. All right, let's do this. I'm going to break. Let's just remove this segment for a minute. See where this one goes from 12 to 10. Let's put this back to 10. Let's turn our point snap on here for a second. So I'll put that back to 10. This one I'm going to go to 0.8. All right, now. If I go and let's make this one red. And I say from 12 to 10. And then I extend 100 feet. And if I pick that up and move it to 10, okay, so that should be just the extension there. If I do the same thing here from 2 to 8, extend 100 feet. Oh, sorry. Try this once again. 2 to 8. Now extend 100 feet. Now I pick this up, bring its endpoints here. So I've got those two things, if I extend those from here, this one, and this one. What? Oh. Sorry about that. Apparently part of the command before it changed the radius. See right here? That's why it kept missing. I need to reset that radius to 0. There we go. All right. So now here and here. And that puts them right there and there. I will now break that apart, and just because okay. Now I've got a PI point. I know 2 tangencies. No, a tangent distance was 150 feet. So just pure geometry from here, perpendicular to there, and then move this from that endpoint to the PI. And then I do the same thing from out here, perpendicular to here, and then move that from there to the PI. And if I want those tangent distances to be the same, I simply do an offset. Let's keep that 150 feet, one from here to here, and then this one to here. And that should be right on that line. Looks like it is. And that should be right on that line. Looks like that is. So now if I were to intersect those 2 things, again with the radius of 0, I pick that one and that one, they meet down there in the middle. And then if I trim using these incoming tangents, or even that previous one, this, see that's, oh, I know what that is. That's using implied edges. I better fix that on yours here in a minute. Let's see, what does that give that as a distance? All right, so that's again right on that line and right on that line. It looks like, at least. Yeah. Okay. So now this has a length of, oh, it's a different length this time, 2171 and 2171. That's why it missed it. Okay. Apparently I was slightly off, and that came from this setting. You don't have to remember this, but I know what's causing this. If I go to my trim setting, I clicked in here that I wanted to use implied edges. I'm going to turn that off because I think that's sneaky. And what that meant was, remember when I had this out here and it left a little stub? Well, when I had that one line, it extended that edge out there, and that's the first place it trimmed, and I had to trim it a second time. And the other one did the same thing here, and I missed that trim that extra little trim. All right, so this now should work. And if we draw an arc, two tangents and a radius, or you actually know, the tangent length, you could do two tangents, tangent length, you could type in that 150, or let's just do it this way. We've got the geometry. So the radius of the arc, now it's keeping the old value. So I'm going to go back here and grab this new one. Make sure I'm on that endpoint to that endpoint. And now it wants to know the first tangent line. I'm going to do it with this white one and this white one, because those were the originals. And there it is. Now, hopefully, there we go. PC is right on the PC. The PT is right on the PT. Okay. So, and then once you're done with all of that, you can clean up all of this geometry. And we'll do that. And now that's done if you're happy with that. Now that, just remember that these 2 points aren't really there. You could move those points up to these positions if you want, but that's not going to match your what you did in this field.
Right. No.
But so we'll leave them here, but just bear that in mind that it's not going to be exactly right. Now, what I want to do is let's see how much it needs to adjust. So that's a pretty big adjustment. Let's see, from there to there. Let me just put a couple of markers here, or let me measure from here to that endpoint. That's 132.6 feet. Let's see, measure from here to that endpoint. 78. All right, so 132. I'm thinking here is I'm going to have to provide that number, so I would need like 135 if I'm going to allow that with field to finish. So anyway, we've saved this. It's there. It is tangent, and that's the way to do it by intersection, just as you said you should do in TerraModel. That would still work, and you could do that with the draw arc, the 2 tangents, and given that distance. You could also have done a circle. And now with the TTR, it's going to ask you for the one tangent, the other tangent, and then you'd have to know or show that radius value. And that does the same thing, but it just draws a whole big circle. Then you have to select these 2 things and choose the trim command, and you would trim out the part back here of the circle, leaving just this arc. Okay. That's another way of doing that. Now, the way to do this in field to finish, and since we saved this file, I'm going to
the other curve.
Well, I'm gonna undo this one here just to. Oh yeah, we could do it with the other curve. So drive us there. Okay, so you got a PC and a PT. You didn't mean that to be a point on the curve, did you? Like going from here to here?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I see. This is this point. Okay, and then the PT you're showing as that point. So the curve would fit in there, or do you want this one to be the PT down here, number 29?
Yeah, I think I want that one to be PT down there.
All right, so we're going to just change this description here. We'll take this PT out. Let me make sure. All right, there, I thought so. Okay. And we're going to make this one center line of the road, and that'll be a PT. We will copy and paste here, and we'll flip that order. Oops, watch me get the wrong center line. PC. There we go. Copy and paste. All right, so now we have these two, and we have the center line 23 to 25, and then we're going from 29 to 31. So those are the two successives. Just as long as 30 and 24 are not also CL points. Which we can do this. Let's just list those 2 points, or list those points, and we're looking for 30, which was just an edge of pavement, and 24, which was also an edge of pavement, but a PC there, then the PT there. So you can address that part in a minute. So now, where we are right here in the way field to finish can work with this is if you, in fact, I'm going to switch to a new layer here. I'm just going to call it F2F CL, and we'll make this, let's make it yellow so we can see it. And, oh, do you see this down here, by the way, on the status bar, this snap on and off?
Yeah.
You need to turn that off. That's not entity snaps. That's this one over here.
Okay.
That snap means it's going to snap based on the spacing that you have for the grid, meaning here, snap and grid. So if you turn your snap on, it's going to snap to every nearest 1 foot.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't want that to be on. Just sort of keep track of that. Now, when you're using point numbers, no, that it's going to override that. But if you just click the mouse, it's going to jump to the nearest 1 foot value. All right. Now, field to finish, and we're going to draw from 23 to, we'll go 23 to 25, comma 27. We'll put that in there so it doesn't try to, it won't mess up those other points. But anyway, we could just normally say 23 to 31. But we're going to go to survey, draw field to finish, and in here it's got multiple codes. We're going to split all the codes. We're just going to set it up here, and right now we're just using this code table called Carlson, and that's okay to use that, but I'm going to edit it in a minute. But let's look at what we want to draw here. Oh, I see something we could do right away. Let me cancel that for a second to keep from messing with that, to keep them having to type in those. I'm going to make a little point group. And this is our curve points. And I'm just going to do a list here of, what do we have? 23. Okay, so 23, 25, 27, 29, 31. And I'm going to make one more here to called curve points no PI. And that's basically the same as that other group. And it was 23, 25, 29, 31. Okay. And I'm doing that for a specific reason, to show you how this works in either of these two ways. Now, if we do simply, we're going to draw field to finish. Sorry, wrong menu, draw field to finish. Let's put all the codes. And right now I'm just going to use the curve points that includes the PI, okay? And I'm going to edit my codes, making sure that I have CL, which I'll just look at all. I'll sort by codes, and I see there's CL, which is center line of the road, okay? Let me edit that, and let's just make it a 2D polyline for now. And let's say use raw description. Let's see, the code CL, there's the full name of the code, or the description rather. Or that, I'm sorry, that's the name of the code. That's just for our lookup information, so that's fine. And the description would be CL, that's what it writes in the drawing. But if I leave that off, and if I say I want to use the raw description, it should take all of these descriptions down here that we have and keep that in the drawing. We'll just see how that works, if it does. All right, now we're going to put that on a layer. Turn that off, and we're going to put that on that field to finish layer. And all right, so that's all good. Now, so the code is set to be able to respond to it. I will save the code table and exit. Oh, sorry. One thing I need to do, look at my code table settings, is to look at my special codes and make sure that, all right, so it does say PC and it does say PT. Good. Now, so that's good. I'll say, okay, okay. I'll save the code table. And when it comes back to my dialog here, I'm going to look at these additional draw options, and here they are that I'm looking for. PC to PT curve type. That means from the PC to the PT, if you do a sequential arcs, that's going to look, so if I have a PC but do not have a PT, it's going to assume 3 points. It's going to draw an arc. If I do have a PC to a PT, and let's say it was 6 points away, so you shot the PC, then you went ahead and got another point, which was, you know, so you could wind up shooting multiple curves, even reverse curves between the PC and the PT, and you just go up and you would you know, shoot the PC, shoot a midpoint, shoot the point of inflection, shoot a midpoint, shoot the PT, and it would fit consecutive arcs. That's the sequential arcs, and they stay circular. If you say best fit, then that's going to take the points in between PC and PT and put a single arc in between all of the points that exist between PC and PT in a least squares best fit. Okay, another thing that you might want to do. If you say Bezier curve, it's going to do like a spline fit, you know, that goes through all the points, but it sort of snakes its way around and still tries to hit as good a fit. So let's keep this as sequential arcs for now. And this right here is this adjust PC PT for the arcs to be tangential. If we don't have that on, it's going to force it to the PC and PT points that you have, and it would lose tangency. If you do say you want to adjust it, then it will slide that up and down those tangent lines so that it finds. Now the tolerance that you want, so you have to be pretty close here. Now, if we were back in that other location, I would have to type in 135 feet here because that's how much that was off from that resulting tangent curve. But let's just see what we get at this point. Okay, and now because it's using that middle point, and I'm doing those points, and I say, okay, there is that resulting point. Okay, let's get rid of these. Let's just do that again. Survey, draw field to finish, fix the center line. Well, let's see, it was a road feature. Let's edit this and turn the symbols off. Let's see the symbol. Let's just use a tick. And there's the scalar. That's all fine, well and good. All right. Save that, exit that, and draw it again. Okay. What the heck? Field to finish. It's doing something. Edit codes. Road features center line. 2D polyline. That's good. All right. Attribute size scale. That's all right. That layer. That symbol. It's not anything there. Don't know why it's going back. Oh, I do. Maybe. Is there an RD? PR. No, there's no RD. Yeah, that should be okay. I don't understand why it's going back and putting these big giant things on here. That's what I'm not getting. Well, it's just it's drawing the points twice. All right. Let me just gather them up and delete them out of the drawing here, and then I'll take care of that. All right, so there's the points that we did use. And if we look at this resulting line here, that point is right on that arc. These points are right there. I'm wondering if that is truly tangent at that point. It might just be visually so close that it's there. All right, so that's with that one. Now, if we get rid of that, and instead of going 23 to 31 and including this, if we draw field to finish, and this time we're going to use the group of curve points no PI. That should work. Just say okay. So you see it didn't draw point 27 again. And we should see that now this line took, all right, if I regen that, and if I see where this, oh boy, that looks dead on.
So are those PCs and PTs of the curve?
Yeah. Yeah, see, because we said adjust the PC and PT location.
Yeah.
So those 2 points are now, yeah, they've probably been shifted a little bit from the original. Do you have that original coordinate file in another location?
No.
All right, so right here's this 27. You see how it's off slightly, which was okay. We didn't include it, but it made this tangent because we had 23 feeding 25 and we have 31 are coming from 29. So it was able to put that in there. Now, let's take a look at your points history. Let's go right here. Point history. Now let's do 20. Let's see, there's commands, that's point. There's 25 and 29, so 25. Get the same value all the way back to the import. See those values?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, the same thing was what, 29? It's still all the way back to the import. I'm just surprised.
So how did it do that without moving the points?
Well, that's what I'm surprised. I'm wondering is if, so that was able to ignore point 27. The last time we did it though, it forced an arc through there. So if let's make this one red. And a little heavier here. All right, so there's the red one. I'm going to also remove extended entity data from that line. All right, so now it's no longer that. Now, if I go back to survey, draw field to finish, and I'm going to have it not erase, and let's do the group that included the PI and say, okay. There, you see that slight difference?
Yeah.
So let me get rid of these extra points. So there now, that curve now goes through this CLRD. And let's see where it shifted, if it did. Wow, it doesn't look like it's shifting.
So they both can't be tangent curves. That's impossible.
That is correct. As long as 25 and 29 haven't shifted. So if they did, now that point is 0.888249. Looks like it's still the same. Yeah, 888 and 25, all the way back to the import. So one of those curves is not like the other, obviously. That red one is the true tangent curve. This one is simply an arc fit between it. And I could make it, you know, I could move this till it went out to the midpoint of that, and then that would, you know, have corrected that. But what we want is a more foolproof way of doing this. So if instead, let's get rid of both of these for now. And let me try this one. Let's change that points. All right, draw field to finish. We're using that. Let's change adjust and see what happens. It still goes through 27. And it looks like nothing's happened to 25 and 29. That was 888,249. Yep, that didn't get touched. All right, that switch isn't working right. All right, let's try something here. If it is non-tangent, when I pick this, it should flag a point of non-tangency. I didn't see that it did. See, if I say it's tangential to the previous, and if I hold the PC, or actually hold the PC, make it tangential to the previous. And then this, we want to be tangential to the previous. Aha, see? So that definitely was not tangential, that one that we did going through that point. So if then on the other hand, we draw a field to finish, and we use just the no PI points, and let's make sure we allow it to adjust. Well, I wish I knew what was triggering that. It doesn't matter. Actually, I think I do know now. And that would be, do we have a GIS table? No, there's no GIS table. All right, never mind. All right, so now with that done, if I turn that into a center line, polyline to center line, we'll just use the same one. We'll pick that and say, go. And let's see if we can figure out something here. If we hold the PC, actually we should hold the PI or PC. If we hold the PC, make it tangential to the previous, that should be fine. We'll say okay. And then the line coming out of the curve, if we make it tangential, save and exit. Well, I didn't like any one of them. Okay, so that didn't work the way it's supposed to work, because what should have happened there is if when field to finish puts this in, it puts it in tangentially from this back section, and we allow it to adjust, then going into the alignment, making it tangential and making the outcoming segment tangential should keep this back here up on that line somewhere, not necessarily, exactly on that point, but at least on that line. And that did not happen.
I think if you held the PI instead of the PC, I think it would probably work.
Well, that's certainly true, I think. Let's see, let's just get rid of that again. But I think that would also work in the other case too. So I don't know that that's going to fix it for us. Let's see, I'm going to turn this adjustment off and see what happens there this time. Here's my thing, and as far as I can tell, that's exactly the same coordinate. Let's double check this. 888-249. So it's not touching those points. And it's not, if I hover in that and I look down at my status line, I see that those are exactly the same coordinates. All right, so making that an alignment, choosing, accepting. Now let's see what that, oops. See, that gave me station 0. Then it got a PC and a PT, and there's the end. So if I do that, and if I make sure that that curve, see, that's already, it is tangential. It comes into this as tangential. Whereas the last one, when we did it, was not. And see that, if I set that to be that, let's see if that changes anything. Yeah, it still shifts. Mikey. Well, we can always do it by the geometry of going if you do have a point in the middle that's intended to be there. If you did a circle and down here at the bottom of the command prompt, we type TTR. Oh, we still don't know. Oh, shoot, we don't know. We don't know that radius. Well, you know how to construct that. We've been through that before. But this is, well, that makes that curve tangent at least to this. If I adjust. Let's say okay. That resulting line. If I draw from here to this perpendicular, and if I draw from here to this perpendicular, intersect those. Oh, no, sorry, I got to move it first. So move from that endpoint to, oh, what are the chances? All right, like it. So if I move now this one from that endpoint to that endpoint, let's do this one more time. Move from there. Let's just move it here and then move it. Move that from there to there. All right. Now with R equal to 0, we'll do this and this. And then we'll look at these two things. We will explode it, and that has a length of 886,969. That has a length of 884,667. So it's not, it's holding those points. It's not adjusting the points. Now it may hold this line might be tangent to the income. I mean, the curve might be tangent to this incoming, but then no, it can't even do that and still hold this point. It's still holding those points. Mike, I don't really quite know why that's not behaving the way that the documentation says it should be behaving. I tell you what I'll do is let me research that up. I'm going to put these points up to there, and then you can join those if you want. Now that's the one that's sort of ish through there, but sort of, and it's definitely holding 25 and 29. Okay. Let's see what else. Now the other way of doing it to guarantee the tangency is the way we did that last one, where you intersect the two tangents and then you back off an equal tangent distance for each one. Turn 90, intersect your radius points, and do it that way. Should have been an easier way, Mike. I mean, there could be. I mean, you could do these draw, given the tangents, but you'd have to know one of these values, and you could choose. You could even say the tangent length. You might just decide, let's say I want to go from, and I just might want to measure, and I say, well, that's going to be sort of equal to, from here to here. I'll see what that happens to be, and that's 104.2. So I might call it a 100-foot tangent, and then I might go. I would draw this line out here and then extend that out 100, or not 100 feet. I would draw these two tangents, find my PI, and then I would come back that 100 feet. And so that's going to move this point and this point to those new locations. And then you could, or actually, no, I don't have to do that yet. I can just do this. If I draw a line, let's put this on another color here. So if I draw that arc as given two tangents and a tangent length, and I just called it 100 feet, so we can see a difference. So pick a PI, I'd still have to intersect them.
What's the best way to intersect those two? Fastest way?
Well, what I would do probably is I would draw this I would choose draw 2D polyline, say okay. And then I would choose down here before I clicked anything to C to continue, and I pick this one. Okay, so it's going to start at its endpoint. And I'm just going to say extend, and let's give it a distance, 100 feet. Okay, so now what that did was it took this where it used to be at 29 and then kept pushing it on through that 100 feet. I would do the same thing here, and I would say continue, and I would pick toward this end. It's going to start there, and I would type E. Let's also give it 100 feet. And now where that happens to be, you could either extend this one to this one and then trim that one back, or if you did a radius, or a fillet with a radius of 0 that does the same thing, but what it may also do is, or what it does do is it joins it into a single entity. I may not want to do that. So if I choose this and right click and choose extend and then choose that line, that's where that intersection is. And I could even neaten it up by choosing that one and choosing trim and trimming on the part I don't want. So now there's still two separate things, and I've got a PI that's picked, that's computed. So now draw arc two tangents with a tangent length. I pick that. Now the, oops, sorry. If I choose, let's try again, draw arc, two tangents, tangent length, 100 feet, click. Now picking the PI is this endpoint, except it put, see right here, it says int on, so it switches you to intersection mode. So you have to get, well, it'll take the endpoint, there it is. And now pick a point on the first tangent line, which is this one, a point on the second one, which is this one. And there now is the resulting tangent curve arc. So if I take that, and you could see that it was different, right, than the last one that we thought field to finish was doing for us. Now let's see how this works with tangencies. You see how it's not on the same points?
Right.
So that's how it shifted it. But if I say, look at that curve information, I see that it has a PC, PT, radius, degree, tangent, in and out. There's my tangent length right there, okay? Now that was me coming up with an arbitrary tangent length based on me just saying, well, it's sort of going to be from here to here. I click it and I chose a nominal value, okay? You may also look at that and say, well, it's here to here, and look at what the average radius might be, you know, any of those numbers that you could fulfill. Okay.
Show me again the how you got the information on that curve.
Oh, I'll let you drive. It's on the inquiry menu because that's what you're trying to do. You're inquiring, so the inquiry menu. And what down right under the thing that says calculator, there's that curve info.
Okay.
So if you click that and then you click on the curved portion, that shows you that. Now, you can look at it in the report viewer if you want. You can just press escape to end the command. I'm going to show you a couple of other real quick and easy, nice ones too. Go to press escape. You need to get rid of the command. Now go back to the inquiry menu and choose drawing inspector on and off. Okay, and now it says right click to activate. So right click the mouse. And what you want to do is, let's uncheck the drawing layer name. So go down and click it with the mouse right there. And then right click again and uncheck angle distance. And then right click one more time and let's uncheck the polyline data. Although that would also show it to you, but now you're going to see the curve data. Now just hover the mouse. You don't even have to click it, just hover over it. Okay. Now that doesn't show you the chord, or I'm sorry, it doesn't show you the tangent, but it does show you that curved information. That's one way. Now right click the mouse and let's go up to top and choose turn off drawing inspector. There's another one. If you go to the inquiry menu, I think this will work here, and choose the calculator. Okay. Now you see the standard scientific conversion. No, this is not going to work here. All right, go close that off. So if you go to the draw menu, this is what I was hoping it would be the same thing, but it's not. And go to the arc. And why it's under draw instead of edit or inquiry, I don't know. But all the way down at the bottom, the next to the bottom is curve calc. Okay. Now this lets you calculate curves, or you see the buttons there. One is to select. So if you select, now it tells you to go over there and select an arc or a polyline. So you just pick that arc just somewhere along it. And now you look at all the data that it fills out. Okay. So that way works too. When you're done with all that, just hit the exit button in that little side panel and it'll clear that. All right. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll let you finish those up. I'm going to save your drawing here a minute. And let's go to your 2021 and set your let's set your toolbars back. Now, what happens when there's something that's doing, I don't know, it's switching or whatever. Let's just pop up, doesn't matter what file we're in. Somehow or another, it is switching workspaces. So we want to reset that back, and then it should save that and keep it. So did it?
Yeah. But it doesn't. This is the third time we've done this.
Yeah, so something keeps changing it. So what I want to do is you have to save successfully out of the system. Oh, what's going on? Why do I have two start pages here? Okay, now here we are in Carlson. I'm going to come down here to this workspace, this gear at the bottom. And I want to choose the Carlson workspace. And that's what you've had. Now, if I choose workspace settings, automatically save workspace changes. I'm going to say do not save, and let's see if that can fix this there. And then if we have to save, and then we have to exit that. All right, so now it should, until anything else comes along and changes that. Which gave me a thought.
Is that the same setup on the workspaces that I had before?
Yes, that's the one we had the last time. So when this comes in, now so far it's not showing here, but I don't know, wait for it to load all the way. All right, so that's loaded that back up correctly there. Now, I want to make sure, see right up here, this business, that is in here. This is also, that toolbar is there. You may be accidentally pulling this down and switching out of that somehow or another. It's also available down here on the status bar. So I think what we should do is this. If I pull this away and close it, so it's no longer there in case that's what's happening. Now let's save that. We will exit and now come back into it one last time and see if that is now gone from the top, but we come back to what we're looking for. And select that, let it load. Meanwhile, Mike, I'm going to investigate those field to finish curve options and see if there's some kind of foolproof way. I just don't think it's working right. I think somebody somewhere showed me that and say, yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. And it was close enough visually and we never really checked it. And all right, so that's gone up here. It's still down there. Everything looks okay. All right. Well, give that a whack. Let me know anything else.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All righty. I will, since we had a lot in here too, I'll also do the same thing on the recording. I'll post it and let you know.
Okay, don't forget to send me one from yesterday too.
True. I've got that there. I just haven't posted it up yet. I'll get to it.
Okay.
All right. You bet. See ya.